Stay tuned and let's check out the Marvel Legends mini comic wave, Daken. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we continue checking out the Marvel Legends mini comic wave. As in front of us we have a Dark Avenger in our midst. It is of course Wolverine, aka Daken, the estranged biological son of Wolverine. Separated at birth, Daken was raised by a wealthy Japanese family. Wolverine didn't even know he existed, and Daken took on that name as it was a slur thrown at him in his youth. It's Japanese, which translates to mongrel. So if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologise, but I believe it to be Daken, so that's what I'm going to go with in this review. And it's the first time we have gotten Daken in the Marvel Legends line since the return of Marvel Legends back in 2012, where we technically got two versions, as we also got an unmasked variant. So it's very nice now we actually get both options in the same packaging without having to buy the figure twice. We also get some interchangeable hands as well, and of course that Dark Avengers mini comic, which is the gimmick of this wave. The packaging itself is themed Dark Avengers, another character to add to that team we are slowly rebuilding. Of course we're going to check that out in today's video. Let me spin it round. On the back we get some wave association, a picture of that comic, and a write-up that says Daken. In Dark Avengers #1, the mutant assassin Daken is recruited to impersonate his father Wolverine in Norman Osborn's Dark Avengers. So I do like the fact that we are rebuilding that team. Let's get him open. Here we have Daken out of the packaging with all of his accessories on the table. Now I'm aware it could be pronounced Daken rather than Daken, so hopefully one of those is correct. His actual name, however, is Akihiro, and we're going to take a look at his accessories shortly. But first I want a family reunion with Daddy-O Wolverine. Now to be fair to Wolverine, he didn't even know that Daken existed in the comics, and they have since reconciled their differences. But yes, he should absolutely be taller than Wolverine. So let me get the tape measure out and see exactly how much taller he is. To the top of his cowl, he is just under 6.5 inches and just over 16 centimeters. So yes, being taller than short Wolverine is absolutely accurate. We will do some more comparisons shortly, but let's first zoom in and take a closer look at that Wolverine head sculpt. The Wolverine cowl makes a lot of sense because during this time, Daken is actually impersonating Wolverine in the Dark Avengers. And the head sculpt itself looks so familiar because we have so many Wolverines in the Marvel Legends line. But I do think this is a unique sculpt, as I don't think we've got that expression for Wolverine, and also proportionately, the head is just a tiny bit bigger. We will try it on some bodies in a minute because I'm assuming it will just work as an alternative Wolverine head, but it also works on this body, which is a little bit bigger and leaner. I think it's the Sunfire body, to be honest, as it's got the butterfly joints with the hole in the back. But the arms are double jointed and pinless, I'm happy to report. So it is a completely pinless Marvel Legend for sure, and it should articulate decent enough. But I'm more interested in that alternative head sculpt. And yes, I really like this head sculpt. I think they've done a great job, especially with the digital face printing tech, that darkness around the eyes, and the sculpt itself with the raised eyebrow and that sort of crooked smile. He looks like he's about to commit some violence and he's happy about it. So yeah, and of course, not forgetting the Mohican. That mohawk is wild, and that is clearly the main event here, and that is a unique sculpt. We have not seen that before in the Legends line. He can join a rock band straight away. So yeah, otherwise completely clean shaven apart from that mohawk in the middle. Very nicely done. So of course his head going backwards hindered a little bit by the hair, but the hair's soft enough where you can still get him looking up pretty far. Considering it's on the disc and hinge, it's got some nice motion to it. But yeah, this head sculpt, again, I just like that expression. Really nicely done. I'm probably going to want this on the display more so than the Wolverine cowl, even though that's more accurate for the Dark Avengers display. But we'll have a look at what we can do. But yeah, bravo on the head sculpt. So you have two options. You can have your unmasked Daken, or you can have the Wolverine look, which, as I mentioned, is more accurate for the Dark Avengers. So I guess it depends on what displays you are building and where you're going to put this Marvel Legend. Checking out the rest of the Ken, one of those other design features that stands out are those tattoos we have on the arms. And this is where I'm grateful for the pinless look, as it just means looking at these tattoos is a lot cleaner. They've got like a blue tint to them, but the lines are very clean, very nicely done as well. And yeah, you've got the nice double jointed elbow there as well. So yeah, that arm has the tattoos. This arm is bare sleeves, but again, the shoulders will go past 90, as you can see, and the butterfly joint on the back is better than going forward, which works okay for these characters when you want to do like lunging poses with the spikes that we'll take a closer look at in a moment. On the chest, you've got the standard crunch going forward, and then a crunch going back. And then underneath that belt, which is a separate piece, if you ride that up, you can see the swivel at the waist as standard. Slide that back down, you've got the swivel at the thigh, you've got the double jointed pinless knees, and if I swing it round to the back, that's not bad range at all. There's a little bit of swivel in the boots because the boots is an overlay to the bottom of the feet. Then you've got ankle pivot and rocker, and his legs go out okay. Like, I think he's got a decent amount of articulation, enough to get him in a decent couple of poses, that's for sure. My only tiny gripe is, as much as I want to appreciate the clean pinless look, unfortunately reusing some of those older bodies means now Daken has a hole in the back for no reason. Now, I'm not going to be posing him backwards, but if I'm going to point out the pinless look, he has got a big hole in the back. So tiny nitpick. And just a quick note, I would have also added an extra layer of paint maybe up on the shoulder joint, as obviously the arm is molded in this skin tone plastic, but the shoulder joint is molded in the brown, and they've just painted on a layer of the skin tone. So up close and personal, it does look a little bit dull. So yeah, an extra layer of paint there, I think, would have made it a little bit more tighter and in tune with the plastic of the skin tone. The advantages of being Wolverine's biological son means you inherit his regenerative healing factor, but also his retractable claws. And you will see Daken here has 2 claws on the front of the fist, but the Marvel Legend also has this extra claw on the inside of the palm. Now, technically 2-clawed Dakens or 3-clawed Dakens are accurate depending on your frame of reference in the comics, because I believe the Tinkerer helps create a 3rd claw for him, and maybe that's the look during the Dark Avengers. So that's why we get a full set here in the Marvel Legends line. But let me zoom in just a little bit to look at these. So there you get on the front, and they're done in that sort of more sturdy plastic. They will hold their shape. They're not going to fall out. They're not loose. And then the extra one there. The 3rd claw should technically be on the wrist, but because the Marvel Legend hand needs to pop out, they've pushed it up to the palm of the hand. So in the comics, it's more on the wrist, but here we have it on the hand. So if you wanted to display your Daken with a full set of 2 claws rather than a full set of 3, you are shit out of luck, because they did not give you a full set of 2 claws. This is all we get. We get 1 fisted hand with the 2 claws, which again is an accurate look for Daken, and then the other hand is just an open hand to hold that bloody comic book, which is very frustrating. Now again, I'm not mad at the comic book gimmick. I understand they're trying something different, but if we are now sacrificing pieces you actually need to accurately represent the Marvel Legend character for the comic, that does make it frustrating. I would absolutely sacrifice the comic for an extra 2-clawed Daken hand. So let's just have a look at what we get here. We get that 1 hand with the 2 claws, and then nothing on the inside of the palm. And then this hand is just the open grip, so he can hold his bloody comic. So his grip is pretty loose, to be fair, but there we get a look at the Dark Avengers comic cover. And again, the print on these are very nice for the scale. It's just a piece of plastic with the comic book cover on the front, so it's more a tribute than anything. And then on the back, we just get the Marvel Legends clipboard look. So yeah, it is what it is. So just to reiterate, because Daken is impersonating Wolverine in the Dark Avengers, he needed that 3rd claw, because Wolverine has 3 claws, of course. So he created this extra one. So technically, if you put the Wolverine cowl on this body and the set of 3 claws, then yes, it's accurate to Dark Avengers, which is the intention of this Marvel Legend. It is meant to be a Dark Avengers version of Daken. So even though it's frustrating we didn't get the extra hand, at least you can build an accurate version of the character it's supposed to be. So let's jump into comparison. So we can go in two directions here. We can either go down the Wolverine route and compare him to lots of Wolverines and bring out the family, or we can go the Dark Avengers route as we have Norman Osborn here. Now, this is a kit bash. That's the Norman Osborn unmasked head that came in the Cabal 3-pack on the Matt Murdock pinless suited body, which is probably the best version of Norman Osborn you can create for the Marvel Legends line, if you allow kit bashes in the collection. But considering Daken represents Wolverine from the Dark Avengers, let's go there first. Ladies and gentlemen, there we have it. Call a press conference. Let me introduce to you the Avengers, or as we found out, the Dark Avengers. This is absolutely the closest we have ever been to recreating that iconic panel from the comics in Marvel Legend form. Now, I say that because we have every character now represented in plastic. There is just a few costume tweaks that need to be made and a few upgrades, but otherwise we're nearly there. We've got Marvel Boy, Sentry, Dark Miss Marvel, Iron Patriot, Ares, Daken, Hawkeye, and Black Suit Spider-Man. Now, there's rumours out there we're going to get a better Dark Avengers suited Black Suit Spider-Man. We have got an updated Hawkeye I could have swapped out, but he's somewhere else on the display. We absolutely need a new Ares. He's on a very old body. Daken's decent. Iron Patriot's decent. Dark Miss Marvel's decent. Sentry's pretty good, but I prefer his more orange palette of that suit, if that makes sense. And also we need a pinless version, and Marvel Boy's in the complete wrong outfit, but that one's all right, I suppose. So we're close is all I'm saying. We are very close. Not quite there, but we're at least, what, 85, 90% of the way there. So yeah, bravo. If you want to build a Dark Avengers for your display, you can sort of do it. And then one more look at the 3 latest additions we have gotten from Marvel Legends for our Dark Avengers team. We've got Iron Patriot from the Cabal 3-pack and then Dark Miss Marvel. Now, all 3 of these are completely pinless, so these are absolutely the 3 most updated Marvel Legends for Dark Avengers. Everybody else could really do with an upgrade if we're being greedy, but as you've seen, you can still build a representation of the Dark Avengers, but this is definitely on the right track. Moving back to our Wolverine comparisons, here we have 2 of potentially the best Marvel Legends Wolverines we currently have. We have the X-Men 97 version and then the Secret Wars version. Now, I actually want a version of Wolverine on this body, but with this sort of colour palette, because this was way too bright. Yes, it's accurate for Secret Wars, I'm not disputing that. It's a nice tribute to that original toy from 40 years ago. But I prefer, for the brown suit Wolverine, this sort of colour palette with like the mustardy yellows and the browns. So if we could get this look on this body, I'd be happy. Before we continue the family reunion, let's just take a pit stop here because people will want to see this. Here we have the Imperial Guard, or some of them, with Vulcan and Fang. Now, in the comics, Daken actually wore the exact same costume as Fang. So if you wanted to create an actual representation of Fang while still having a Dark Wolverine for your Dark Avengers, you can use this head swap on that body. And there you go. It absolutely pops onto this body, zero problem at all. And now you can have a version of Daken without ruining your Dark Avengers Wolverine. Now, of course, he doesn't have the clawed hands with Fang, but you can pop in the hands that came with Daken. The unfortunate thing, though, is the colour would be different from the forearm to the fists. But if that doesn't bother you for a display, you can absolutely get it to work. And remember, Fang is on a completely pinless body as well. So it's a decent updated Marvel Legend body for sure. So yeah, you can absolutely have a version of Daken for your display just by swapping a head and still have a Dark Avengers Wolverine as well. So just giving you options. So let's swap that head for Daken and continue the family reunion, as now we have his sibling. It is, of course, Laura, aka X-23, with another version of Wolverine. So there we have Wolverine with his 2 kiddos. And here we have them again, but in their X-Force counterparts. Now, we are going to get a new updated version of X-23 in her X-Force look very soon in that 2-pack with Warpath. And thankfully, she's pinless, as this one has got the warped jelly legs. That is another reason we love the pinless tech, not just for the aesthetic approach, but just functionally, those joints are stronger over time on display, and it's only a matter of time before we get that new pinless Wolverine body with the X-Force look. Here we have another couple of versions of Wolverine. We've got the beaten up version from the 5-pack here, and then the Brood Wolverine. These colours are definitely closer to Daken, but none of them are a match. Here we have the Astonishing X-Men, as this is one of the better Wolverines. Then we got Cyclops and Cat Beast. Can we get an update of that soon? Here we have Black Widow and Deadpool, and Deadpool has absolutely come up against Daken in the comics. Here we have two different versions of Spider-Man. We have Renew Your Vows and the Maximum series, and here we have Daken compared to the rest of the Marvel Legends in this mini comic wave, all proudly holding their comics. Again, is anybody out there going to display them like this? No shade, I'm just curious. As always, let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. We have Frogman and Tigra, but last and never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends mini comic wave Wolverine, aka Daken, or Daken, or Daken. Hopefully one of those are correct, and you're going to be very kind to me in the comments below. But I like this one. I never had the previous version that came out way over a decade ago in the Return of Marvel Legends. So it's a worthy update, one I needed. I never had any representation of Daken on the display. So I really appreciate that we got both head sculpts with this one. So I can display a Daken, or I can create a Dark Wolverine to build out the Dark Avengers, as that will inevitably be another nice display option as well. The only frustrating thing with this, and again, it's a small nitpick, but they should have gave us a pair of the two clawed hands for a more accurate Daken representation. Although I understand the 3 claws are more accurate for the Dark Wolverine version. So again, it would have just nice to have that extra option, but it's a tiny nitpick in the grand scheme of things. I like this pinless representation of the character. It looks great. You let me know what you think in the comments below. Like always curious to hear your thoughts, whether you love it or hate it. It's okay. These are just my unfiltered thoughts about my Marvel Legends collection. And if you like that, you're in the right place. Please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Hit all in the notification bell. Don't miss out on the video. And please hit that join button. Become a channel member. Either show some love or join the members club. Much, much appreciated. Honestly, join the channel. You get to be on the channel. Come and join me on a live stream and talk some toys. It makes the hobby so much more fun when you have good people to share it with. Go and check out a stream and see for yourself. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Dan Who. I'm on X at Dan Who Reviews. And I would, of course, see you on the next one.